A very good afternoon, Dr. Nikhil, and it's pleasure to meet you after 4 years in Bangalore today. And today I'm shooting a second episode of Breaking Bread with DMI, and thank you for being my second guest. Dr. Nikhil Agarwal is the CEO of IIT Kanpur Incubator Wing, and he's also the best-selling author of the book called the Startup Masterplan: How to Build Your Business from Scratch. Dr. Nikhil, you have recently contributed an interview, or you have authored a piece of content where you have talked about mental health. And the one what we have featured is says that mental health is neglected in the startup ecosystem. Can you talk more about that subject? How what do you feel about the mental health topic? A, B, how companies should look at it
Yeah.
in India?
Now, thank you, Dinesh, for inviting me today. Incidentally, it's always lovely to be in the startup city, Bangalore. It's I'm not. I'm absolutely confident after looking at what is happening here. Is the it is very aptly called the Silicon Valley of the East. Uh, so certainly, the topic that you have asked me today about the mental health, though it is a sort of a taboo in India for many years, people don't talk about mental health. And same thing started happening with startups, considering the financial pressure they have, the productivity challenges that they face, the go-to-market problems that they are facing, the cash burning issues,
Correct.
and leaving their plus jobs and starting their startups. It's another challenge that they face. So startups, in fact, are more vulnerable to mental health today than the larger organizations. Larger organizations have their method of dealing with mental health. There are counselors, there are head of like there are HRs which can support you in that time of crisis. But a startup does not have that kind of mechanism.
Correct.
The health issue also taken the backseat because it is sort of glorified that you work extra hard, you work in late in night, you eat Maggie or you eat junk food, you work on weekdays, you don't take care of family, you have to work for 20 hours a day for all this. That is sort of glorified,
Correct.
and eventually that start taking toll on your mental health and your productivity. So one of the things that we should think of that whether it is right for us to glorify those things. We should not probably glorify, say that, okay, eat Maggie in night.
Correct.
You say, okay, eat, have a good snack. If you want to work hard in night, there is no harm into it, but take adequate breaks. Talk to the friend. If you are facing a challenge about finances, talk to your mentors. Start hiring or onboarding mentors into their ecosystem to do something about it. Develop a buddy system where one startup founder can be buddied with others, or other startup employees can be find their own buddies.
Correct.
Have a pressure on the employees to work harder, but that does not mean that they should break under the pressure, and eventually who will suffer? Not only the employee will suffer, but your companies also suffer.
Okay. And during pandemic, we have thought that people have started, being sensitive towards lot of activity. But how do you see what is missing when it comes to mental health, especially in India, in generally in our ecosystem or as a country, we can say, still people are not willing to talk. Or what is your suggestion according to you? Companies should look into it because a lot of things happen. Let's say if a not physically fit, a mentally fit employee can contribute more than somebody who is going through mental health issues. So where are we missing?
So I'll talk about taboo first, and
Okay.
then why the people don't think mental health is a illness.
Correct.
Uh, in India, there is a common word which is wrongly used for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
"ये पागल है क्या?"
Correct.
So it is sort of considered a joke.
Yes.
You know, people think in India people cannot go mad, people cannot go crazy.
Correct.
If you are doing something different, they ask you, "है पागल है क्या?"
Correct.
And that has sort of created a different kind of taboo in the ecosystem. अगर आपका हाथ टूट जाता है,
Mm-hmm.
तो you go to a doctor.
Correct.
You have a bad stomach, you go to a doctor.
Correct.
आपके बाल कम हो रहे हैं, आपकी स्किन लटक रही है, आपको कुछ भी इशू है, आप डॉक्टर के पास जा रहे हो.
Correct.
पर दिमाग जो सब कुछ कंट्रोल करता है आपका,
Mm-hmm.
जो पूरी वी ऑल नो दैट यू आर कंट्रोल्ड बाय योर माइंड.
Correct.
अगर उसमें कुछ इशू है उसको वी डोंट कंसीडर एज एन ऑर्गन.
Correct.
We believe, at least in our culture,
Mhm.
कि it should work perfectly forever.
Correct.
Now that is the biggest, I would say, hypocrisy in our own culture.
Mhm.
दिमाग we should consider as like an organ.
Correct.
जैसे पेट खराब होता है दिमाग भी खराब हो सकता है, जैसे टांग टूटती है ऐसे दिमाग में भी चोट लग सकती है,
Yes.
जैसे आपको बुखार आता है दिमाग में बुखार आ सकता है,
Yes.
जैसे आपको कहीं वायरस लगता है तो दिमाग में वायरस लग सकता है,
Mhm.
बिकॉज इट्स ऑल इंटरकनेक्टेड. अगर ऐसा कुछ देर इज सम काइंड ऑफ एंड दैट नॉट ओनली इट रिजल्ट्स इन अ बिहेवियर चेंज, इट कुड रिजल्ट इन अ affecting a family life, your professional life, your overall working style.
Mhm.
And that is like you can be affected on one side, like say you are working in a startup and you are pressurized by your bosses to perform more. You say that you have already taken a salary cut or something,
Mhm.
but you have to really work hard and you're not able to come up with, sir, for some reason
Correct.
that is not happening.
Correct.
So not only it will affect your productivity at your workplace,
Mhm.
but it will dramatically affect your personal personality.
Correct.
And you will start showing challenges in your personal life.
Correct.
Whether you're married or not does not matter. You will go away from your friends, you will start getting into silos.
Correct.
And you will feel that everybody is against you.
Uh-huh.
Now that is what is called, the doctors call it depression.
Okay. Yes.
That is the first step of depression.
Okay.
You feel scared for something, you
Yes.
feel disturbed about something.
Yes.
Now that is a very very dangerous situation. Now what the startup should do, they should identify some person is facing those kind of challenge.
Mhm.
Now there is adequate medical cover which is there
Okay.
from number of companies that can be provided to extend it to the employees.
Okay.
It costs very less. The another is that start taking help of a counselor,
Okay.
taking help of a medical professional,
Okay.
that okay there is some behavior changes happening, and then talk to that person कि भाई there is something, maybe your behavior is changing.
Mhm.
It's not about there is like we are pointing you something,
Mhm.
but take help. You are an extraordinary person, we all know about it and we are with you, but take help.
Correct.
दवाई खाओगे, थोड़ा ध्यान रखोगे, अपने ठीक हो जाओगे,
Okay.
फिर वापस हो जाओगे.
Mhm.
So that is what, like then this taboo is removed.
Mhm.
क्योंकि if I am suffering from mental health, I should not be outcasted
Correct.
from my family and from my work.
Yes.
कि मैं पागल हो गया हूँ तो मुझे कोई मेंटल असल में ना भेज दे और मुझे मेरी नौकरी चली जाएगी, मुझे घर वाले छोड़ देंगे. दैट टैबू हैज टू गो अवे.
Okay.
Then the people will start coming and with a pride they will say, see, I have suffered, like I can always say, like uh, uh, today everybody is struggling about the weight loss, you know.
Yes.
So I was quite fit till November December last year.
Okay.
And I was going like 4 times a week, I was going to the gym.
Okay.
And end of December,
Okay.
during the New Year time, I fallen ill for almost a week.
Ah.
And that has really like derailed my ambition of being fit.
Ah.
So for the next few months I was completely at home.
Okay.
And I was trying to recover, and it was winter in Delhi. You don't feel that you are bulging from inside. So you keep on wearing the heavy clothes.
Correct.
And everything is inside, and my weight increased.
Ah.
So that was like it is exactly like that.
Correct.
Like you don't take care of your health, that can result in a weight increase. You can fall ill because of virus and all. Same thing can happen to your mind or your thinking process. So there is some incident happened and you have fallen aback.
Okay.
Your fitness goals, your mental goals, your personal goals, your professional goals have taken backseat, and you get into different kind of zone altogether. So as a person yourself, how to identify? There are number of tests which are there. There are number of surveys which are there, which you can fulfill those surveys and say, I feel differently, I'm not able to sleep properly, I'm not able to concentrate on something, I'm feeling indifferent with someone, मुझे बहुत ज़्यादा गुस्सा आता है, मैं बहुत ज़्यादा शांत हूँ, मुझे कुछ अच्छा नहीं लगता, मुझे कुछ भी, something is changing in your behavior.
Correct.
Than the routine.
Correct.
You could be a very angry person forever, let it be angry, every person is different. You could be very calm person forever. आप लेकिन बहुत काम आदमी को अगर अचानक एंगर आना शुरू हो जाए,
Mhm.
जो बदलाव आए
Correct.
उसको नोटिस करें.
Okay.
जो बहुत ज़्यादा गुस्से वाला आदमी है, सडनली एकदम शांत हो जाए, थका थका रहने लगे,
Uh-huh.
उसको नोटिस करें. एनी चेंजर इन बिहेवियर
Okay.
that could be identified and can be suggested, okay, कि यार some changes are coming.
Okay.
probably this. And if you look at the West,
Yes.
any kind of like problem is happening, the people say, family and friends say, kindly go to a, you need help, you go to a counselor,
Correct.
which they commonly call a shrink.
Correct.
So there they don't give you medicine, they
Yes.
talk to you.
Yes.
They talk you out of it.
Correct.
Number of times you keep on thinking, because you may be an introvert or an extrovert, whoever you are, but you keep on thinking.
Correct.
Keep on thinking. Sharing is also caring.
Ah.
So another thing which you can do as a startup
Mhm.
is that you can create a sharing group
Okay.
within your organization.
Okay.
कि आज भी क्या हुआ,
Correct.
आज ये क्या इशू हुआ, इसके बारे में बताओ, क्या
Correct.
तुम्हें मेंटल स्ट्रेस है, क्या कुछ है, उसके बारे में डिस्कस करो.
Okay.
More and more you discuss about those things, better it is.
Okay. So for me, my key takeaway is sharing is caring. Have a support system. Reach out to people if you need help. Thank you, Dr. Nikhil, for sharing light on such a topic which is very sensitive and very few people in the country who are open to talk about, especially people who are suffering. For example, I was also, reached out to help in 2020 when pandemic started, and I know this is a very serious issue because until unless you feel the pain, you can't talk about the subject. Thanks for sharing light. And before we dive deep into IIT Kanpur, what you do, I want to understand, Dr. Saab, आप मेरे को ये किताब की जर्नी बताइए, द स्टार्टअप मास्टर प्लान. आई सी लॉट ऑफ पीपल टॉक अबाउट दिस बुक. मैंने भी काफ़ी जगह रिव्यूज़ देखा है, एंड एक बिकॉज स्टार्टअप पे उतना लिखा नहीं गया है. सो आप अपनी एक तो किताब की जर्नी बताएं, ए आपने लिखा क्यों, बी एज अ राइटर व्हाट ऑल चैलेंजेस यू फेस्ड, सी कि इसका रिस्पॉन्स कैसा है, व्हाट रीडर्स आपको क्या बता रहे हैं.
So, so I have been in startup domain for many years, and I thought that there is a correct guidance which is not available among the startups.
करेक्ट.
कि बहुत से लोग हमसे आके बात करते हैं, पूछते हैं कि डॉक्टर अग्रवाल और निखिल सर, हमें कुछ स्टार्टअप करना है और हमें आइडिया नहीं मिल रहा, कैसे करें.
करेक्ट.
या स्टार्टअप कर लेते हैं तो दे वेस्ट लॉट ऑफ टाइम इनिशियली. फॉर एग्जांपल, इट्स अ कॉमन नॉलेज दैट people take up to 6 months to creation of their logos.
Yes.
They are so fixated on the logo side
Correct.
that it takes 6 months. And 6 महीने आप पीछे हो गए,
Correct.
आप लोगों के चक्कर में लगे रहे.
Yes.
And some of the best known names which are there in the world and which has become extremely popular are come out of the blue.
Correct.
Google, Yahoo, who will call themselves like their own company Yahoo?
Correct. Yeah.
But it was there. It was very successful company. At one point of time, Yahoo was almost $50 billion company.
Yes.
Some of the best companies in the world have a very funny names.
Yes.
But that's fine. It's not about like having a name, or it is all about making it popular.
Correct.
You may be having extraordinary interesting name, you may be having very catchy logo, but is it solving the problem of the customer or not? That's what you have to focus.
Okay.
So I realize that there is a great need where people can read something about it and can do less mistake.
Correct.
I am from UP, so there is one common muhavara which comes from UP which says,
Okay.
गलती वही करता है जो काम करता है.
करेक्ट.
जो काम ही नहीं करता वो गलती क्यों करेगा.
गलती क्यों करेगा.
तो स्टार्टअप किया है तो गलती तो होगी.
करेक्ट.
उसमें मान के चलिए, गलती होती है उसकी चिंता नहीं है.
करेक्ट.
पर कम गलती करें.
करेक्ट.
तो कम गलती करने के लिए आई थॉट दैट देयर शुड बी अ बुक व्हिच कैन बी रिफर्ड बाय द स्टार्टअप्स, पर्टिकुलरली the companies which are starting afresh.
Correct.
And we call it Startup Masterplan.
Okay.
How to build your business from scratch.
Correct.
So if you want to build up your business, start reading the book. Step by step you can start building your business. Correct. And probably you will do lesser mistake. Correct. And you will able to achieve your goal in lesser number of years or months. Okay. Than usually it takes. Okay. That was an idea of writing this book. Correct. Of helping thousands of startups across the world. Correct. And it is not just like book is only meant for the Indian audience. Okay. This book is written in a more international language. Okay. There are examples and snippets available from US, UK, India, Germany, Israel, everywhere. And this book was published by top publisher Business Express Press in New York. Okay. There is one shortcoming of the book, like jalti कहते हैं गलती करता है तो पता लगता है. Correct. The only shortcoming is it is published in New York. Okay. So the book is little expensive. It costs around 1,600 rupees in Indian currency. Okay. Whereas other startup books are for 100 to 100 rupees. That's the only shortcoming which I have no control over it. Correct. However, what I believe is that knowledge it's your choice of gaining knowledge. Correct. whom you want to gain with.
Correct.
You can, it's like doing an MBA.
Correct.
So you have a choice of doing an MBA from unknown place. The book will be same.
Okay.
It will be Philip Kotler book.
Yes.
You can do a MBA from IIM Bangalore, which is right here.
Yes.
The book would be same.
Correct.
But the teacher who is teaching you,
Yes.
and the way that you are following, that
Correct.
makes a difference.
Correct.
So the book may be 1700 rupees.
Okay.
It is available from the New York publisher.
Okay.
But I think this book can really help the startups.
Okay.
This book can really,
Okay.
for the not only for the new startups,
Okay.
but also for the mature
Existing
founders.
ones. Okay.
They can see that where they are in the journey, and they can start following those,
Correct.
and that will allow them to do lesser mistakes.
Correct. In a corporate or world where 2000 rupees cost you a buffet, I'm talking on a downside, not on a higher side. 1600 rupees for someone who's interested in, let's say, starting a business for a budget of 5 lakh, 10 lakh. I think it's a worth investment.
It's always a good investment in. See, I am a knowledge person. I trust in knowledge.
Correct.
So today, my suggestion to everyone is that if you would like to go out, rather than going out every week,
Okay.
probably skip a week and buy a book. Any book.
Correct.
So good quality, like a book can take you and probably give you more meals in the future because you will earn more.
Correct.
But if you have less knowledge,
Correct.
chances of the meal that you are eating also go away.
Correct.
So there is always a competition between the person who is more knowledgeable and person who is less knowledgeable. People with more knowledge are destined to do well.
Correct. And as a writer, Dr. Saab, आपको दिक्कत कहाँ पे है? What was the issues you faced while completing the book कि कौन सा chapter कब रखना है, क्या रखना है, क्या नहीं रखना है? Because since आपका इतना लंबा experience है startup पे, because you are there with IIT, you are handling companies from scratch, you are guiding them, mentoring them. So while writing the book, what are the key thoughts or what are the challenges you face? Because I know you must have written so many chapters and then you have to fix it कि ये रखना है, ये नहीं रखना. How, what was the challenges while writing this book?
See, incidentally, I did my PhD, and when my PhD was, I was writing, so my professor says that the total number of words that you have to write is 70,000.
Okay.
That has to be submitted between 70,000 to 90,000 words. You have to submit as a part of your PhD thesis.
Correct.
But most likely you will end up writing 400,000 words. 4 times of what you need actually.
Correct.
So this is exactly happens in the book.
Okay.
So you, because you are doing your own research, you are talking to people, you are gathering information.
Correct.
So you have so much information available.
Correct.
Concising is becoming a challenge.
Correct.
Now I'll give you another interesting story from my own Cambridge days. I was doing one course at that time.
Okay.
And my professor, he came from MIT and he taught us something, how to write short.
Okay.
Like for example, today there is a new telecom bill which has come.
Correct.
Now as a journalist, it will be very challenging for you to write everything what is there in the telecom bill. Or there is a budget being announced.
Yes.
How to write short, because you have a limited space.
Yes.
And everything should be there, everything should be covered, and everything should make sense.
Correct.
Now how do you concise? Writing short is the most difficult part.
Correct.
Writing long is much easier.
Correct.
So that's the real challenge you face as a writer, that how do you write in short, how do you concise all the information which is coming from different sphere, how do you prioritize which case is good, which case is not so good, or which will make more sense. So that was the most challenging part. So I got a help. In fact, I had an intern with me.
Okay.
Incidentally, he is my elder son. So he was also stuck in the house with me during the COVID time. So we worked together. We were doing certain other projects like related to my own work in IIT Kanpur. But he said every day, 2-3 hours, we will discuss about. Though he was just in 11th, but he is an avid reader. He is an economics student, and he keeps on, like, sometimes you have to listen to the young people. So he keeps on guiding me, Dad, this is what you have to do.
Correct.
That this will not work. No, this is not the language, right language. So because their way of writing language and English is very different than what we have.
Correct.
So we are very, like I would say, old school English conservative writing.
Correct.
But there is more witty and more appropriate nowadays.
Oxford has also changed lot of words, brought new words.
So those things which we work together, and he helped me in writing some of the new age
Yes.
cases,
Yes.
and he helped in developing. So
Correct.
that's the reason he is also a co-author in the
Okay.
book.
Ah.
So it's a co-written by me and all. And he rewrote number of chapters.
Okay.
We gave away these chapters to few of our friends who
Okay.
read it, and does it make sense? For example, in finance,
Okay.
for example, in raising the funds or
Correct.
compliance. Like we spoke about the compliance not only in India but also in US compliance and other compliance. Is it right information we are giving to the book? That is also quite important.
Okay.
So those things we give away, and then eventually that was the result.
Correct.
The book was reviewed by a professor from Ohio State University.
Okay.
He is a professor of entrepreneurship,
Okay.
and he was quite delighted to see the work. He said there is a high quality work,
Okay.
and I think you should publish in Business Express Press. They were pretty helpful in organizing this whole publishing thing. They eventually published the book, and now this is not only read by thousands of people. It was number one in when it was released as a part of Amazon
Okay.
small business release for many weeks.
Okay.
And now this book is also followed as a part of the curriculum
Oh.
in few of the schools, including Jindal, including RV University. A number of schools are now following this book
Correct.
as a part of their curriculum as well.
Correct. As an MBA graduate, like when I did my MBA in 2007, and I'm just thinking, if I was, in a college and I knew that some book will help me to understand the subject. Like at that time when I joined MBA, retail was new, FMCG was new for me because I came from a BA background. So book like this, introduced at an early age at colleges, it's a great idea. Thank you, Dr. Nikhil. And this book is available on Amazon.
Yeah, it is available on Amazon. You can order it online,
Okay.
and it will be there in no time.
And it's a digital version is also there.
Kindle version is also
Okay.
there.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. And I will just put the description link in the once we upload this interview in our channel, and I will also post it in LinkedIn. So now let's move it to the you currently what you are doing with IIT Kanpur Incubation Center. So can you tell us more about your work, what you are doing, and then we can dive deep into the companies which you are working. Few successful one which I know it because I follow your work everywhere, Dr. Nikhil. So can you tell us more about that?
So yes, IIT Kanpur is one of the oldest tech institution in the country. It started almost 60 years back,
Okay.
and the computer science department was first set up in India in IIT Kanpur. IIT Kanpur Incubator has started working in the year 2002. There was a grant from SIDBI and UP government which was given to us,
Okay.
and we set up this incubator. But the real glory of the incubator started happening in 2019 onwards. Uh, and 2020, when the COVID came, then we realized that there are not many options which are there for us. Nobody is going to help us out. Like we reach out to everyone across the world, but nothing was coming.
Okay.
So we took one challenge of ventilator project,
Oh.
which become fairly well known.
Yes.
So there was only 10,000, less than 10,000 ventilators available across the country, and there was a demand for more than 200,000 ventilators. So, and when the Indian government wrote to the US government, then President Trump sent only 100 ventilators to us. And most of the other companies have refused that they have a domestic demand to cater.
Correct.
So we took the challenge and we developed the ventilator from scratch within 90 days time, which is like sort of a world record of its kind.
Yes.
Now the company is doing quite well. The company which has started working on the ventilator is called Noka Robotics,
Oh.
and not only the ventilator, but they are coming up with the new medtech devices.
Okay.
Like if you see the medtech itself, 85% of the medical equipment in the country are imported today.
Yes.
If you look at the communication equipment which is used in airports, 99% of the communication equipment used in airports are imported.
Yes.
So when somebody says make in India, at least I feel good.
Yes.
The reason is because now we start talking about make in India, probably in 10 years time we will start reducing the export burden.
Yes.
On defense side, we were importing at one point of time 13% of the total defense production in the world, which is humongous.
Correct.
Why we are only importing? Why we are not exporting?
Correct.
We have brilliant people.
Yes.
When people who are of Indian origin can run Google, Microsoft, or Adobe or IBM,
Correct.
why can't we produce in India, we make in India, and we export? Not only consume it domestically, but also export. So that was the main focus of doing this incubation activity at IIT Kanpur. We have started incubating companies, whether in medical technologies, whether in cyber security, whether in artificial intelligence, whether in manufacturing technology, number of sustainability.
Okay.
And today you'll be very proud to know that we are India's top incubator. We have IIT Kanpur is ranked number one in a National Institute Research Framework NRI ranking in innovation this year, and that shows the kind of commitment that the people has, the organization that we are working has, and the whole ecosystem has trusted IIT Kanpur in supporting the way that the work we are doing. We are very proud of for our company which are doing extraordinarily well. They are trying to solve the most critical problem in a commercial viable sustainable fashion.
Correct.
We we have started working with Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs to solve the garbage problem in the cities.
Oh.
We have initiative called Startup for Garbage Free Cities.
Okay.
So we are not just only helping the other end of the spectrum like artificial intelligence company or AI companies, but also on the lower side of the spectrum where you require problem which have a deeper public impact. Like we are doing a large scale project with the Odisha government. We have recently completed some project with TriFed Tribal Affairs, with the Chhattisgarh government, with the Tamil Nadu, with Kerala, Andhra, Telangana. This was given, and we created something called Tech for Tribal,
Oh.
like technology for tribal.
Correct.
So tribal is 9% of the population is tribal,
Okay.
and unfortunately we have not done much for them.
Yes.
So how do you create tribal entrepreneurs?
Correct.
How do you learn from tribal entrepreneurs? They are also having certain primitive technology which is
Yes.
worth learning
Correct.
and can be used for our own understanding.
Yes.
Like some of the most common words that we use, it's not the case that tribals cannot teach us. Everything can teach us.
Yes.
Like I'll give you an example from technology perspective. There is something called a virus.
Yes.
Now, virus is a biological term which has been borrowed into computer science.
Correct.
You can have virus as a human being, you can
Yes.
have virus for the computer.
Correct.
Same thing, there are number of things that we borrow from biology, from physics, from
Yes.
others,
Yes.
which can be used
Correct.
from the different communities also.
Correct.
Like how these communities have used this particular technology or idea for many years. There must be some ancient technology, ancient method that exists.
Okay.
Can we make it more sustainable? Like if you look at some of the old buildings, they didn't have much ventilation at that time. They didn't have air condition,
Correct.
but the buildings were quite cool.
Yes.
So how do you create this kind of architecture where the light and air can go?
Correct.
So we are also learning from the ancient civilization and others.
Correct.
Same with tribals are also sitting on pile of information
Correct.
which can be very useful for some of the startups or companies.
Correct.
So technology for tribal was not only building up tribal entrepreneurship ecosystem, but also learning from tribal entrepreneurs how to use their own inherent knowledge and technology for some other purpose. So this program was very successful from Government of India. We work with thousands of entrepreneurs across the country.
Correct.
So we are not only working on the, let's say I have said, on the top end of the spectrum, but also looking at the grassroots entrepreneurs, whether it's a women SHGs, whether it's tribals, whether it's the smaller entrepreneurs. The another misconception which I want to clarify through this interview,
Okay.
that the IIT Kanpur Incubator is only for IITians.
I was just about to ask that.
That's not the thing.
Okay.
Only 35% of the companies today we
Okay.
have some linkages with some of the IIT.
Okay.
More than 65% of companies are from anywhere.
Oh.
So we are looking for merit-based
Okay.
invitation.
Invitation. Okay.
So we have companies which are started by 17-year-old boy,
Correct.
and we have companies which are started by people who have retired
Oh.
in their active career.
Correct.
63, 64-year-old people, they are starting the company.
Correct.
So if you are able to solve the problem,
Okay.
only one condition that you should have, like legally,
Okay.
you should be Indian,
Okay.
you should have Indian passport, and the company should be registered in India.
Okay.
Because we are a custodian of government funds, so we cannot provide funds to outside.
Correct.
So only companies we can support is Indian companies, and you should be having a merit in your idea.
Correct.
You should be able to convince us that this idea we can work together and make it big.
Correct.
It is solving certain problem.
Correct.
We don't take education companies normally because we are also an education institution, so it becomes little challenging for us. We don't like e-commerce, typical e-commerce company or typical aggregation company.
Correct.
That I'll gather some people and I will create an aggregation business. That we don't like. We like the companies which are solving real problems.
Okay.
Like one other example is the off-grid technologies, which is come up with a new battery chemistry
Ah.
on zinc gel. Like we have two kind of batteries, lithium ion and lead acid.
Yes.
So this has come with a third kind of battery.
Okay.
It's called zinc gel battery.
Okay.
We are one of the largest producer of zinc in the world, and it is non-polluting. It is quite compact, and the efficacy of the battery is almost as good as lithium ion battery.
Correct.
So some of like those kind of problems which is not solved by anyone else.
Okay.
That's something which we are very keen in looking at.
Okay. And what do you, because since you meet so many people, you have mentored so many startup. What do you look at? Let's say if somebody comes to you with an startup idea, so do you look at the founder? Do you look at the idea? What interest? What is your eye as a as a CEO of IIT?
So it's a hand in hands approach.
Okay.
If the founder is good,
Okay.
the idea is bad, does not work.
Okay.
The idea is superb,
Okay.
but the founder does not have capability of doing it,
Okay.
then is another challenge.
Okay.
So it has to be, both the things has to be good. Like
Okay.
it just like you are a IIT Kanpur graduate with gold medalist and say,
Correct.
hey, I want to do something.
Correct.
That does not work for us.
Correct.
You have to have a solid plan,
Okay.
and you should also demonstrate capability of doing it.
Okay.
Like somebody come to me like few weeks back, he said, I can build up a supercomputer.
Ah.
Great idea.
Correct.
Because supercomputer is going to the future.
Yes.
Or quantum computer will be the future.
Correct.
I really like it. But then I asked him like, are you able to do it? Then we are deep diving with him and his team,
Okay.
whether he has this capability of doing it.
Yes.
If he has this capability, then we will also invest time.
Yes.
See, you have to understand, the startup are certainly living this on a day in day out basis.
Correct.
But we are also investing time, energy, money, effort
Correct.
into it. So you always have a choice of working with people who can solve this problem and come with a great solution, or someone who is just trying to figure it out. So with a limited time, with a limited effort, limited money that we have, we would like to work with people who are creating real impact,
Correct.
whether in technology terms, whether in public benefit term, any kind of impact that you are able to create,
Correct.
we'll be very happy to talk to you.
And which all industries excites you? Like you said that these are certain industry which you don't want to work with, or you want to look at company who are solving problem challenges. So which all industry, let's say you are targeting, or you that if somebody coming with idea in that particular industry and it's solving a problem that excites you, okay, this is good. So which all are the industry you look very keenly?
So sustainability,
Okay.
anything with green,
Okay.
which is very exciting for us.
Okay.
Then artificial intelligence, machine learning.
Okay.
Then cybersecurity, we have a huge setup of cybersecurity.
Correct.
Then defense, we
Oh.
recently set up a complete vertical on defense.
Correct.
Biosciences,
Correct.
the reason is like IIT Kanpur is also setting up the School of Medicine, which is Gangwal School of Medical, is being set up as we speak. Biosciences is an interesting area for us, and certainly anything else which can fall under any of these categories. So we are those sector agnostic,
Correct.
but we also want to see like we were not doing many space work, but
Right.
now a couple of space companies have also started contacting us,
Okay.
and we recently incubated one or two of them.
Okay.
So like marine, we don't do much work because we don't have ocean nearby. We have a Ganges, so we don't get too many
Correct.
ocean related or marine related companies. So it depends like which are the areas where we also have an expertise. We will be very frank and honest with you.
Correct.
You come with a problem that is say, hey, can I get mentorship and support from IIT Kanpur faculty? So we'll run this idea with the faculty members and see if there is anyone who is willing to take it up, anyone has an expertise of helping this company. If not, then we'll say, no, this is not the right platform for you. Perhaps you should look for some other institution which will able to help you out. So it's a very honest, meritorious feedback that is given to the companies. That's what they like about it.
I know you have to rush, Dr. Nikhil, but I will ask you three more questions, then we can wrap it up. One, how do you see the startup coming in the space of manufacturing and technology? Because my magazine, Dynamic Manufacturing India, caters to manufacturing, and I see there are very few I see a lot of problems. I see a lot of innovation can happen apart from automation, digitization. A lot of small thing can be done. So, as a CEO of IIT Kanpur Incubation Center, how do you see this industry, startup coming in manufacturing and technology side?
So if you look at, like, the Prime Minister has given one word which has a very deep impact on the policy,
Okay.
or in fact the future of India,
Okay.
and the word is called Atmanirbhar Bharat,
Ah,
सेल्फ रिलायंट इंडिया.
correct.
अब आत्मनिर्भर बनने के लिए हमें क्या करना पड़ेगा?
Correct.
हमें मेडिकल टेक्नोलॉजी में आत्मनिर्भर बनना है,
Yes.
हमें कम्युनिकेशन में आत्मनिर्भर बनना है,
Correct.
हमें कंप्यूटर साइंस में आत्मनिर्भर बनना है,
Correct.
हमें मैन्युफैक्चरिंग में आत्मनिर्भर बनना है, हमें डिफेंस में आत्मनिर्भर बनना है.
Correct.
ना होल गैमेट ओपन्स अप.
Correct.
अभी भी भारत के अंदर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग पे इन्वेस्टमेंट रिलेटिवली लो है.
Yes.
So that's one of the challenges that IIT Kanpur has taken up, that we want to promote companies which are in manufacturing tech.
Okay.
We are finding new ideas, we are finding new companies. Somebody is making a tractor, somebody is coming up with a new way the machine can be run, that can be more efficient. Somebody is coming up with less use of energy in the industry. So those things that we are doing a lot. Somebody is trying to find out, like, how artificial intelligence can be used in manufacturing sector. So that's what the area. आत्मनिर्भर भरने के लिए we cannot keep on borrowing innovation from outside. We have to come with our own solutions. We have to do R&D here. We have to come up with commercial viable ideas which can be taken up by the industry.
Correct.
So we are working with a number of organizations, whether it's FICCI, whether it's PhD Chamber of Commerce, whether it's WASMI, number of organizations.
Yes.
We talk to them and we say, you tell us your challenges faced by you, and then we will try to find a solution through one of the startups we have.
Dr. Nikhil, you are well-traveled, well-read person, and I saw a lot of your posts that you have traveled to Japan, Korea for a lot of startup work. So, as a startup community, how do you see the global ecosystem startup system working, and how are we working? How do you see things? How the West work, or let's say the Southeast Asian works, and how are we working? So, how do you see the changes or differences according to you?
See, still the Indian startup ecosystem, though we are very large in ecosystem today, we have the third largest in the country, but that does not mean that we are the third most invested startup country in the world. Because the kind of growth I am seeing in companies in Germany, in Japan or in Korea, which is quite phenomenal. US is obviously it's much ahead in terms of investment and all. One of the reason is because the sheer availability of resources.
Okay.
Resources not only in terms of finance but also the participation from the industry.
Correct.
Like in Japan and Korea, I remember when I went there, Samsung, Hyundai,
Yes.
LG, all these companies are deeply participating with startups, helping them out, building up the new ideas, coming with the new technology, mentoring them, providing them funding. In India, it is still at nascent stage. Very few organizations are taking active interest in helping the startups to go to the next level. I think that's what which is needed. Is like the mature industry has to adopt startups.
Yes.
Then only the ideas can propel.
Correct.
That's a key difference which I feel is there between Indian startup ecosystem or any of the East Asian startup ecosystem.
And what's new you are doing in IIT Kanpur Incubation Center, and where do you sit? Do you sit in Kanpur, Noida? I know you travel a lot. So where do
So
you
we
sit?
have, yes, we have our parent campuses, of course, in Kanpur,
Okay,
but we have also built up an extension campus
correct.
in Noida. The
Okay,
reason is that some of the companies which are completed a lab work,
okay.
because Kanpur certainly it's a great MSME hub,
Yes.
but may not be having access to all the technology that the
Yes.
company work. For example, cybersecurity or
Yes.
AI, the companies have to come nearer to the bigger cities.
Correct.
So some of these companies, when they graduate or when they complete their lab work,
Correct.
or their R&D teams keep on sitting in Noida and in Kanpur,
Correct.
and their marketing team comes in, sit in. So that gives you a dual location advantage.
Correct.
That R&D can happen in one place, the core work can happen in one place, and
Correct.
business development and other things can happen in another place.
Correct.
So I partially sit in Noida and partially sit in Kanpur.
मेरा आखिरी सवाल डॉक्टर साहब, पता नहीं किस ब्रांड का कैच लाइन है, शौक बड़ी चीज़ है. सो आखिरी सवाल, किन लोगों को स्टार्टअप करना चाहिए, ए बी किन लोगों को नहीं करना चाहिए, द पीपल ए who should do startup, who should not do it. So according to you, what sort of mix?
आपका आखिरी सवाल सबसे मुश्किल सवाल है.
कि वो जो
उसका
कैसे लोगों को करना चाहिए, कैसे को नहीं.
देखिए, अगर किसी को सिर्फ पैसा कमाना है
करना.
तो स्टार्टअप में कभी नहीं आना चाहिए.
ओके.
अगर उसका मोटिव ये है कि उसने इतना एग्जिट लगा के इतना पढ़ा आदमी बन के पैसे वाला बन गया, तो भैया
करेक्ट.
मैं बिल्कुल यूपी वाली भाषा में बोलता हूँ, मैं हाथ जोड़ता हूँ आपसे, आप स्टार्टअप में ना आए.
ओके.
अगर आप में एक जज्बा है
Correct.
उस चीज को पाने का,
करेक्ट.
कुछ सॉल्व करने का,
करेक्ट.
कुछ चीज को आगे बढ़ाने का,
करेक्ट.
और वो जीवन को जीने का पूरी जिंदगी, ये ना सोचे कि मैं एग्जिट कब मिलेगा,
करेक्ट.
पैसा कब कमा लूंगा,
करेक्ट.
मैं किसी इन्वेस्टर से पैसा उठा लूँ तो मैं गाड़ी ले लूँ.
करेक्ट.
दैट्स अ रॉन्ग प्रोफाइल ऑफ ए स्टार्टअप फाउंडर.
करेक्ट.
I will not encourage such people to come.
Correct.
Of course, you can earn money. There is no harm in earning money, but there are other avenues to earn money.
Correct.
Because see what happens when greed also lead to frauds, and that's what we are seeing in the startup world.
Yes.
I'll not name anyone, but we know all the stories.
I will also not touch this.
So that there was a sheer greed from the
Yes.
investor side,
Correct.
from the startup founders side.
Correct.
That has bring the bad names to the startups.
Yes.
Now the startups which are actually doing good work, they really want to solve the problem, come up with the great products.
Correct.
They are finding challenging to raise money.
Correct.
Just because of certain greedy people who thought that startup is the easiest ways to become rich.
Correct.
जिंदगी में एक कदम एक बार लोगे,
Correct.
जैसे पेड़ धीरे धीरे बढ़ता है,
Correct.
सो उम्र धीरे धीरे बढ़ती है, खाने का स्वाद धीरे धीरे आता है.
Correct.
ऐसे ही स्टार्टअप को भी जवान होने दीजिए, आगे बढ़ने दीजिए,
Correct.
और फिर उसका मजा लीजिए.
Correct.
ये नहीं कि स्टार्टअप को आपने इंजेक्शन लगा के बढ़ा दिया, और
Correct.
इंजेक्शन लगाई हुई चीज कभी नहीं चलती, ना खाने में चलती है ना स्टार्टअप में चलती है.
Thank you, Dr. Nikhil. A lot of key takeaways for me, off the record chat, and during this session, I have also learned a lot of things. And thanks for your support, because of you, we are building a brand called Samurai Awards. Under your mentorship, I can still recall the first edition when we reached out to you that Dr. Nikhil, this is the idea. You validated the idea. You were there for every call, every minute, categories what we wanted to, have. Now we will be, hosting the 4th edition of Samurai Awards, which is honoring India's resilient makers and movers. And I look forward to, meet you in person during Samurai Awards, Dr. Saab.
In fact, I must say that this particular magazine is doing quite a good work, and I am a regular reader of Dynamic Manufacturing. I get a copy, and not only I read this magazine, but I also write for it.
Yes.
It is trying to come up with the stories which is unheard of from the manufacturing sector in India. जब तक कोर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग इंडिया में नहीं होगा, हम लोग डेवलप्ड नेशन नहीं बन सकते. चाहे वो स्कैंडिनेवियन कंट्रीज हैं, चाहे वो यूरोपियन कंट्रीज हैं, चाहे वो चाइना है, चाहे वो जापान है, चाहे वो यूएस है, किसी भी सक्सेस स्टोरी को दिखाएंगे आप, तो देयर सक्सेस स्टोरी इज नॉट अबाउट द सर्विसेज, नॉट अबाउट द स्टार्टअप, बट इज अबाउट कोर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग. कोर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग हमारे यहाँ बढ़ेगा तो हमारा देश आगे बढ़ेगा. आई थिंक यू आर डूइंग अ गुड जॉब, एंड well done, I would say.
Thank you.
And I look forward meeting you for the Samurai Awards.
Thank you, Dr. Nikhil, and we wish you all the very best for your 3-day stays in Namma, Bengaluru. Hope you are liking the weather.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Nikhil.
Thank you.
Thank you.